So our channel is more about our passive house, this place that we built that has incredibly thick walls that you can see. They're about 14 inches thick, maybe 12 inches thick, I don't know exactly. The channel is mostly about that, but today I want to give you a little tour of our yard and talk to you about some things that we're planning on doing out in the yard to make it so we use less water, have a more luxurious life with great not locally grown produce, but hyper locally grown produce from our own yard, and talk a little bit about the plants. It's early morning on a weekend. I'm going to talk today a bit about how we're going to store water in our yard without being allowed to store water in Colorado. So let's get started. As you can see here, a lot of water falls on our roof in the form of snow or rain, and the goal of this is to capture as much of this water as we possibly can and keep that in the soil so that it survives dry months. So I put this on the 0.5 lens so you can get a bit zoomed out view. But overall for our property, this is the Highline Canal right here, nature trail that goes through Denver. It's a 72-mile trail. You can see there's some really large trees. It's absolutely incredible. This right here is going to be a garden area in the yard. So this is clearly the highest point. And we had this retaining wall made right here, which you can see. It has stairs and everything built into it. The company did a really fantastic job doing this. So when we built the house, we intended for it to be the house to be a little bit higher up, I would say, so that we didn't have to have a retaining wall over there. But it ended up needing it. So this, like I said, is the high point, but then that right there is the high point once you go down past the wall. And I made it so all the water from that roof there and all the water from this roof and this roof over the bedroom and the kitchen all come down those two downspouts. And the idea of this is that it's illegal to harvest rainwater in Colorado right now. But my thought is that at some point that may not be the case. And if that at some point is not the case, then I'm going to have some cisterns over here. But right now I can only have 2 50-gallon barrels, which is pathetic. But that's the law. So what I decided to do was I future-proofed it by running it all into this same spot. And then we have these two downspouts right there. And I'm going to make a little dry creek that goes down here. And then you can see I already started on it right there. So if we go over here, you can see the water is going to go over here when it rains. You can see a little pooled spot right there where this is where the water's been sitting. The ground's frozen right now because it was 27 degrees last night. But I made a little berm right here to hold it all in. And then I dug that little trench going down through there. So the idea of it is that the water's going to come off. The water is going to come off the roof, all those roofs, maybe, 1,300 square feet, maybe something like that. And come down here, and then it's going to pool up in certain areas and settle into the ground, and then go down, overflow, then go down over here, pool up again, and then overflow, and then go down to the next one. So it's just going to keep building up little ponds as it rains for that water to soak down into the ground. And then you can see there's a little hole right there in the fence. I'm going to make a little hole right there, and that little spot where the water is running to, it'll go down, it'll go through. I'm going to put a little tube there so it goes into the front yard where it's going to meet up with the garages downspout, one of the over the mudroom. If we walk over to the front yard, I'll show you. I made some big berms in the front yard. The dogs think we're going inside, but not quite yet, puppies. In the front yard here, I'll be right back, boys. I'll be right back. So if we go over to the front yard, the water, I'm going to make a little stone retaining wall right here. And then I'm going to build up the dirt there so that it's about the same height as this fence. The water, I'm going to make a little hole right here where the water comes out. Then I'm going to continue the stream because you can see this white pipe right here. This white pipe is the downspout that comes from this mudroom area. So it comes down there, goes through the concrete, pops out here, and goes over there. So all of that, you know, a lot of that overhang, there's another downspout at the end of the overhang, like the covered porch, but all that area comes down through there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the dry creek stream come down here. And then you can see over here in the front, I have a big swale that I've created. And I'm going to touch this up a bit more. I'm waiting to get more of these stones. But you can see this swale, this berm, you know, that comes down there. So we have these two big trees right here. And I want to get a lot of water for them as well. So the overflow of the water is going to come down. It's going to fill up a couple other like plant areas. And then it's going to pool up here. And this has already been happening. So it actually pools up pretty big. You can see if I go over to this one, this retaining wall is a bit more complete that I made right here. We're going to put the capstones on it soon. But I have another swale right here. And you can see the water is coming down. You can see the path that the water made right there. So it's coming down the spout. Then it goes and it runs down and it pools up right inside of here. And the same over on this side as well. Here we're gonna have a stepping path, like a walking path to go to the backyard this way. But you can see here that the water's coming down there, running through, and then it's staying inside of the berm right here again. To give you a bit better of an angle of the berm, you can kind of see there. So all the water in the house, I was way back there when I was recording earlier, way back there in the back corner. But all the water in the house is going to pool up and sink down into the ground. And I'll post a link of this in the video description, but Brad Lancaster has a fantastic channel where he talks about how when the water falls on your property, you want to keep all the water on your property. You want it to sink down in the ground. He says you want to plant the water. And I really like that idea. So we're trying to make it so instead of, like most of the time when people water their lawn, you know, it's a hill going up to a major road over there. When most of the time, like there's water just running down here and all the water in the whole town from people watering their yard all just goes away. You know, and we want to sink it deep into the soil so that the plants can thrive here. So right now I'm just in observation mode, you could say, trying to figure out where the water's going, the path that it's taking, and then figuring out how to contour the land so that it's really sinking the water deep down. So you can see the water is going to start around that corner. Oh, I'm backwards, around that corner, and then come around the house. And then it's going to go down this little trail, overflowing and filling up ponds. I've been really excited to get started on this outdoor stuff and to start getting ready for the spring, so we can plant lots and lots of greenery. We're not going to have any grass in the house, so we can conserve water. I think we've been using, like, my recollection is with 6 people, usually a friend, at least 2 or 3 friends of our kids sleeping over every weekend. So lots of humans in the house. We've been using about 5,000 gallons of water a month. My guess is right around that, if I'm remembering correctly. And when we lived in Utah and we had a yard that we had to water, I think in the really worst months we were using 35 to 40,000 gallons of water. So just a staggering amount of water. You used to have water in a desert area. The objective is to have, xeriscape and mulch and shrubbery and plants and vegetables, and make that the primary thing that we're growing and not grass. But yeah, very little water usage, hopefully, and to have a verdant, luxurious place to stay in the yard and be able to grow our own food. So that's part of our hope. These were the before videos of what the yard looks like. Now we're going to start out the project. So if you're interested in following along with us as we turn our suburban Denver yard into a permaculture yard, please click the subscribe button and consider liking the video. Thanks, bye.